Welcome to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ, offering support for those who care for a loved one. A show that cares about you and supports and encourages you, the caregiver. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Caregiver Hour radio show. We're thrilled that you have tuned in. Hope you had a wonderful holiday with your family and friends. And, you know, maybe there were some moments there that were a little stressful, which can always happen when you get together with family. Or maybe it was really very healing for you as a family caregiver. And I hope it was. I hope it was beautiful. I hope it was everything you wanted and that you really had a wonderful time. I, on the other hand, had a great time visiting with family up in New Jersey, but I did come home with a cold, and I started with that raw throat thing on a Friday and tried to nurse it the best I could, and then it kind of went full-blown by Saturday. So this show is about really helping to, have the caregiver create balance in their lives, take care of their loved ones, but then to circle back and take care of themselves. And it's hard when the caregiver becomes ill. Who's taking care of that caregiver? And, we really want to be here for you 24/7, 7 days a week. But, that's what this show is all about, is really helping you create the balance, have the information, resources, and guidance, and also support. Who will take care of you if you catch a cold? You say you're taking care of a loved one and now you're sick. Who's taking care of you? And you kind of want to have that as part of your care plan. And we've talked about that before, the circle of care for the caregiver. And, this was a perfect example. I feel like I do a lot of caregiving for people. And when I got sick, it was my wonderful husband who was able to kind of come in and help me. But not everyone has that in their lives. So you kind of want to figure out who that would be. And, having a cold, we all have colds. So I know I'm not the only person on earth that has one or gets one. So I brought some of what I did to help me with my cold. I did get rest. I just went into bed. I turned the phone off. I really went into shutdown mode. And I did take my Advil, which was really helpful. And I took my NyQuil because I wanted to get a good night's sleep, which was pretty much the topic of today, talking about the power of a good night's sleep. And that does help restore you. And I took NyQuil yesterday, and then I took DayQuil during the day, and I really kind of stayed low. And then you always kind of want to have those nice soft tissues that, are available at CVS, Walgreens, and Publix. And then I also have the small jar of Vaseline, which, and every time I kind of wipe my nose, I kind of put some Vaseline on, just kind of help keep it moist and not so raw and red. So that's another tip on how I had a good night's sleep. And then I bought Ricola. I love Ricola. And I came in the studio today, and there's a few of us who have that in our bag. So it's something really to have probably during the whole winter season, just to keep your throat really moist and fluid, and then also to suppress any coughs. So if I do sound like I have a cold, I do, but I really wanted to be here today. I really wanted to have this show be sensational for you. And my guests are they feel the same way. We all really set that intention of having a great show. We're going to be talking about the power of a good night's sleep because it's so important to have that time to recharge, re-energize ourselves, and even re-nourish our minds. We've talked about dreaming. This is just about getting a good night's sleep so that we can really have a great next day. And I'm here to do it in collaborative mode with Dr. Ben Choiniere, who we call Dr. Ben. He is a French-Canadian, and I love his last name, and I don't mean to damage it in any way, so he pronounced it for me, so it's Choiniere. And he's a chiropractor and owner at Accident and Anti-Aging Clinic. And Heidi Crockett, a lot of you might know Heidi Crockett. She has an MSW, and she's a geriatric care manager at Aging Care Advocates. So we're kind of coming at the topic in a very interesting, dynamic way, because Dr. Ben is really going to talk about helping seniors be active. They have so much energy, and in order for them to get a good night's sleep, they need to be active during the day and also work on their balance and their stamina. And he's going to be doing some demonstrations, so I'm so excited that he brought some equipment to show us how to do that. And then we've got the lovely Heidi Crockett, who's really going to be coming from a totally different way about intimacy for seniors and how they have certain rights and how important it is to still have that intimacy. And so if you have any questions, I want you to feel that you can email us at kim@thecaregiverhour.com, and then I will get those questions to our guests so that they can respond to you directly. Before we hop into the whole topic of today's show, I do want to remind you that we have a Caregivers Resource Helpline that's available 24/7, and I do a lot of coaching on that helpline. And I just had a family contact me because mom needed some care, and we were able to get some care for mom right away coming from a hospital stay. And I'm so thrilled that people are picking up that phone and calling me. The toll-free number is 1-877-552-4950. Again, this is a number you want to put in your phone, by your refrigerator, by your office, by your computer, by your office at work, wherever your desk is, wherever your space is. Or you could have it even in your car. And it's, again, 1-877-552-4950. We're just a phone call away. And you can also go on our website, thecaregiverhour.com, and you can look for the helpline tab, and all the information is there for you, and you can click to call directly to a resource. So it's very cool, and it's very different, but that's what we're all about. We're really trying to help the caregiver in so many different ways, more of a holistic approach. I think what we're going to do right now is really bring Heidi on. I can't wait to hear what she has to say about sex and seniors. We know that seniors do want to have sex, and they do want to have an intimate relationship most often with someone in their life, their partner. So, Heidi, welcome to the Caregiver Hour radio show.
Thank you so much, Kim.
You're very welcome, and I love your company, Aging Care Advocates, and what they do for our family members and caregivers and for your clients. Why don't we talk a little about Aging Care Advocates? I mean, I know about you, but there may be someone who doesn't, so why don't we tell them who you are?
Well, we are a team of master's level professionals. So I have a master's degree in social work. Everyone in my company has a master's degree, and then we are called geriatric care managers. So we're hired by the family to help seniors navigate the healthcare system maze, and I'll advocate at all different levels. So sometimes if someone's in the home, I'll go once a month. If like one of the family members has dementia, I might keep an eye out on whether or not they have a UTI. Or I'll go all the way to the nursing home and I'll do a chart review, just once a month, check on them. So advocacy, I had a client who had a pain crisis and was in the hospital but was allergic to pain meds. So we had to navigate that. They were trying to discharge her, but we didn't. So yeah, advocacy takes a lot of different forms. But the company itself, there's 14 of us. We're all master's level professionals, and we cover Hillsborough, Pasco, and Pinellas County. I cover Pinellas County, so that's probably where you've seen me.
Right, but I know Genevieve Falk for quite a few years now, and I know she's got a great reputation and a real commitment to what she does. That whole topic of discharge is something that you need to come back and talk about, because that's so crucial when someone is being discharged, and all the different details that need to come from that piece to get them transferred to wherever they're going, whether it's rehab or home or assisted living. So, that's a really important topic, and advocacy is so crucial to that.
I did that. I worked as a discharge planner in the hospital for 7 years in Shands before I started working this job. So it's basically like case management in the community as opposed to being discharged from the hospital, what we do. So I think that helps people understand a little more what we do. But that really is crucial, because when they're being discharged from the hospital, that's like that placement, where to go. Unfortunately, there's usually not a lot of staff available to help make that decision.
Right. And then when they do go home, what is the support that's there?
Right.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying, and I think that's a great topic. But today's topic is going to be different. Tell me about why you chose this topic. This really became I'll say a passion for you this year. So tell me what happened.
So I started working for Aging Care Advocates about a year ago, and I've had an interest in sexuality. When I was going to grad school, I did an independent study. It was titled Human Sexuality and Social Work Practice, and I presented on marginalized populations. And since I started working, I asked Genevieve, the owner of the company, would it be okay if I started researching what was going on in the community, and we presented on this maybe 9 months later. So I started researching and asking around about what the issues are. And I found a lot of interesting facts that I didn't know that I would in the beginning. A major issue is dementia and sexuality, because if you cannot consent, then sex without consenting is a crime. And then there's these concerns about whether a person with dementia can consent or not. So that was really, as I began to investigate these issues, that was where I tended to focus in on.
Okay. But there's a broader question there. There's a broader perspective. I think I've worked where there are people who have dementia inside living in the community. And I know we would talk about that because there are some people that we'll say, hook up. They're attracted to each other, and how do we handle that? So that's a really important question, not just for the staff, but for the family members and also for the residents that live there. So it's really a lot of different people.
There are so many issues around it. I was amazed as I began to investigate that I could not find very many experts in the Tampa Bay area. So if anyone listening knows experts, I'm definitely open. I would like that information. I asked around and interviewed a lot of people. I found therapists that specialized in sexuality across the lifespan, but I didn't find anyone who specialized with the issues related to senior communities.
Okay, so That's great that you're becoming that expert for us. We appreciate that. So we want you to stay tuned. We're going to have Heidi Crockett, Geriatric Care Manager at Aging Care Advocates, coming back with us. And then later on we have Dr. Ben, Chiropractor and owner at Accident and Aging Care Clinic. At Anti-Aging Clinic. I'm Kim Linder. You're listening to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ.
Caregiving has gotten harder and more complicated, even as families have more and more demands on their time. That's why AARP is here to help caregivers with the tools, information, and support they need to care for their loved ones and themselves. Check out aarp.org/caregiving to connect with other caregivers like yourself and find the resources you need. Visit the AARP Caregiver Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Injured in a car accident or suffering from back and joint pain for a while? Clearly, you need to see a doctor. Call Dr. Ben, a chiropractor with 25 years experience. He listens, he cares, he gets results. His common sense approach? Coaching patients to be self-sufficient and less doctor-dependent. Let's face it, there are many things you can do to improve your health. Call Dr. Ben at 727-488-8044. Mention the Caregiver Hour radio show for a free examination. 727-488-8044. Dr. Ben, your coach to better health. 727-488-8044.
Sometimes I know what I want to say, but just can't find the words.
Last week I shouted at my grandson, and I'm not sure why.
I saw my daughter, but couldn't remember her name.
The sooner you recognize the warning signs of Alzheimer's disease, the sooner you can do something about it. To learn more, go to alz.org/10signs. That's alz.org/10signs. A message from the Alzheimer's Association.
Caregiving can be an overwhelming and stressful experience. Aston Gardens, Tampa Bay's premier senior living community, is excited to be able to support those who care for others. Please join them the third Thursdays of the month at 5:30 p.m. to learn creative problem-solving techniques and caregiving ideas from others who have been in your shoes. Aston Gardens specializes in independent living, assisted living, and memory care. Chosen for the third year in a row by the U.S. Commerce Association for the Best of Tampa Bay Award in residential care. Call 813-855-2811 or visit astongardens.com for more info.
Your home is where you feel relaxed, safe, and secure. Arcadia Home Care understands that you want to maintain that freedom and independence, even though you may be recuperating from an injury, illness, or simply require a little support with daily activities of living. You create a plan for your life as you envision it, and you can rest assured Arcadia will provide companionship, personal care, housekeeping, shopping, and errands, or whatever you need. They deliver their services with compassion, dependability, and professionalism. Their caregivers are screened, bonded, and insured, and must meet rigorous hiring standards, so you are confident you're receiving the best care possible for you or your loved one. Visit ArcadiaHomeCare.com or call St. Petersburg at 727-579-9414 or Tampa at 813-651-1300 to schedule your free in-home assessment and learn how Arcadia can enhance your quality of life while helping you stay at home and healthier longer. Arcadia Home Care, providing quality services since 1978.
The
The Caregiver Hour on 1250 Wins WHNZ. It's about taking care of yourself while you take care of others. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Hello, and welcome back to the Caregiver Hour radio show. We have a very hot topic today, and I think, we're talking about the power of getting a good night's sleep, which I'm excited about, but we're also talking about different aspects of how to make that happen. And Heidi Crockett is from Aging Care Advocates and, is really becoming an expert in that field of senior sexuality. And we wanted to bring Heidi back on and really talk about what seniors need to know about their right to privacy and intimacy in senior communities, because so many seniors are moving into retirement communities at this point in their life. And we can see it in our community, in our big Tampa Bay area, how many are built and how many are filled, and leading very active lives. Mm-hmm. And I would think that sexuality is part of that, don't you?
It is, and it's written in the policies where they have a right to privacy and respect. Oftentimes the policies the facilities have, they don't specifically say sexuality, but it's implied. And so what will happen is, what we find is when people enter into community, they will lose some rights, some sexual rights.
Like what?
I think part of it has to do with being more visible in a community, so there's more gossip. Gossip can affect, and that tends to affect women more than men. Some of the surveys I read, older men said that if they had better health, they felt like they would have higher satisfaction, but women said that if they had greater privacy, that they would have greater satisfaction. So I feel like that issue specifically impacts women. But
what inhibits them from being sexually active?
Yes, because gossip will get around, and then the other issue too for women is that there are fewer, statistically, like women between the ages of 45 and 59, 4 out of 5 have a partner. This is heterosexual women. But once you hit age 75, only 1 out of 5 women have a partner. So once you hit 75 or older, there's much fewer men.
Right.
Yeah, so there's different issues. Now, specific to the facility, what happens is there's visibility, there's greater visibility, there's less privacy because there's people around watching more. So one rule people don't know about is actually nursing homes are required to provide privacy if a couple requests it. But what will happen is a lot of nursing homes, they don't have the availability, they don't have...
Right, an extra room.
Right, people get kind of their arms up about this, but it could just be that a couple wants to spend time together watching a movie or something.
Right.
And then the other issue is that a lot of the caregivers, the CNAs, they're very young, maybe 18, and they can't imagine their parents being sexual, much less their grandparents. So they might just see someone even doing something that's very normal, like kissing or hugging, but it makes them feel very uncomfortable. So then they tell the nurse, and the nurse calls the adult child and says so-and-so is a pervert. But what's really going on is just normal, healthy sexual behavior. So it's the increased visibility and the lack of staff training. I think that's a big issue.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds really interesting. What happens with a community where there's dementia, though? That's a whole other ball of wax. And why don't we talk about that more?
Okay, so sex without consent, it's a crime. And so it's ambiguous whether a person with dementia has the capacity to consent. Therefore, any sexual expression in a senior community for seniors with dementia is a minefield of issues. And NPR did a blurb on that. It was titled, "Can Elderly Patients with Dementia Consent to Sex?" So it's a real interesting 9-minute blurb. And based on my investigation on these issues in the Tampa Bay area, my short answer is that most, if not all, senior communities are not equipped to address the complexity of the issues. Okay, so the first thing that facilities need to do is they need to establish a sexual expression policy that defines who can consent. Otherwise, it's very ambiguous. 99% of facilities, they just say it's a case-by-case basis, which the problem with that is basically whoever writes the check ends up making the decision about who can be sexual with who, so certain rights can be lost.
Okay, so that's very interesting. I'm thinking about when I worked at the assisted living facility, we did talk to the children, and sometimes we talked to the spouse because the person may have been married and had their loved one at our facility, and the wife comes in to visit him, and he's sitting with his arm around another woman,
right,
and just having her be prepared for that. Now, I'm not saying that they were intimate, but having your arm around somebody else who's not you and you're the spouse can be very devastating. But she was the one really who we went to and said, how are you doing with all this? It was more of a case-by-case study. And so when you said that, I was like, bingo, that's kind of how we handled it. Because even if there's a policy, we're still going to have to do a case-by-case study. Do you agree with that, Heidi?
I agree. I think it needs to be case-by-case. But the Hebrew House, that's basically the only nursing home in the United States that has a sexual expression policy. And if you read through it, it's very open. So it just establishes some guidelines. It's not set. And see, because the issue is if you get an upset, disgruntled family member later on, and then there's this issue of consent, what they'll do is they'll sue the facility. So I think it actually protects the facility to clearly outline the sexual expression. Even with the sexual expression policy, what there is guidelines to establish consent, and then who you go to. Usually there's a team of people to sort of establish. And you do ultimately, my main thing when I've been talking with facilities around here, because I know there's not a lot of funding for this, I say if there's a takeaway about this, my one piece of advice is if there can just be a go-to person that anyone in the facility can talk to about these issues, I think it's a starting point. My other piece of advice is if this can be brought up in the beginning when someone enters a community,
yes,
in the very beginning, that can help prevent these messy situations can arise later on.
Right. And I think that you're right. There are sometimes people who are seniors who have a tendency to be more sexual. And we had a woman who was, and she was very flirtatious, and we just kind of had to keep our eye on that and just help guide her so she was in the safest situation because she did have dementia. But she also was able to consent, and we would at times give them time for privacy. And we were very specific about that, very respectful. But also communicated very well with everyone involved.
Well, I have been impressed with all the people. So I've done a lot of anonymous interviews with staff at different facilities, and I was always just really impressed with the answers that people gave. I think people tried the best they can with these issues, and it is very ambiguous, so I think they just try and come to a working agreement. I just think what happens... The biggest issue is, again, it comes down to usually the decision maker, the power of attorney, the payer will make decisions, and then you wonder whether or not that is actually the person with dementia, what the decision they really want. This is where it gets ambiguous and difficult.
But in a facility, we would actually talk to that person. So we would actually, honor what their decision was and kind of make it safe around that decision. So I really appreciate that you're doing this investigative work. I love that you're going and talking and looking, you're talking to staff and looking inside policies. I think that's really powerful, Heidi. So kudos to you. And I just want to, we have one more minute, and then what we'll do is we'll have you come back at the end because maybe there's a story that you could tell about how this does happen, because people love stories and they love how it makes it much more relatable. And I think you and I talk about it so easily because we're in the business, but for someone who may not be, we want to really be able to address them. So the caregiver, let's talk about the caregiver and how they can handle this, and maybe what questions they need to know when they do have a home care company that comes in, or even moving into an assisted living facility or rehab center. So we should talk about that. Well, I hope you've been enjoying the show. We've got more coming up. This is the power of a good night's sleep. And next we have Dr. Ben, who's going to be really helping us. He's going to show us, which is a demonstration, which I'm so excited. He is our chiropractor and owner at Accident and Anti-Aging Clinic here in the Tampa Bay area. I'm Kim Linder. You're listening to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ.
Control problems. Here's important news.
For more than 5 years now, the nice ladies at the Caregiver Partnership have taken the time to understand my needs, suggest the best choices of bladder control products for me, and always get the right product delivered to my door fast and with free shipping.
To get started, simply call 800-985-1353 for your free catalog and $60 in coupons. Many people just like you trust the Caregiver Partnership for convenient home delivery of bladder control products, and they have more than 500 to choose from. Call now. The call is free, shipping is free, and your satisfaction is guaranteed.
The Caregiver Partnership treats me like family and really knows their stuff, and they keep my business private.
Call 1-800-985-1353 now to receive your free catalog with $60 in coupons. That's 1-800-985-1353. Call now. The voice in the preceding advertisement is not the voice of an actual customer.
We all know that life can change quickly, and when an elderly loved one suddenly needs in-home care, there's one trusted name you can count on at a moment's notice: Senior Helpers. Senior Helpers is a national leader in professional in-home senior care. They specialize in companionship, personal care, and even dementia care using their unique Senior GEMS approach. Find out how they can help you today. Call them at 727-210-1414. Senior Helpers, comfort and care at a moment's notice.
Enjoy life at the Barrington, Largo's premier senior community. The Barrington, the resort lifestyle you deserve at a price you can afford. Life at the Barrington is truly senior living at ease, complete with chef-prepared meals, an activities director, and transportation to your favorite spots. Independent and assisted living homes are available now by calling the Barrington at 727-217-5681. Call the Barrington at 727-217-5681 to schedule your tour of their pet-friendly senior community today.
Hi, it's Kim Linder from the Caregiver Hour. I want to tell you about an attorney in Clearwater that I have known for over 7 years. His name is Bill Rambam, and I have referred many families to him for his legal expertise. Bill is one of less than 100 attorneys to be evaluated by the Florida Bar and become certified as a specialist in elder law. His 30 years of experience and impeccable credentials make him one of the most highly regarded legal experts in our area. Give Bill a call today at 727-781-5357 or visit rambomlaw.com. Non-attorney spokesperson.
Family Caregivers, it's new and just for you. The Caregivers Resource Helpline, a free service brought to you by the Caregiver Hour radio show. If you've got questions about anything related to caregiving, you can call the helpline 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Speak directly to dozens of caregiving experts on topics like what to do about caregiver burnout, how to best protect your family's assets, when to keep your loved one at home, or get assistance with a managed care facility, and much, much more. You can even speak to a caregiver coach. Call the Caregiver Resource Helpline today at 1-877-552-4950 to help you take the stress out of caregiving.
It's the Caregiver Hour on 1250 Wins WHNZ with encouragement, guidance, and support for caregivers. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Caregiver Hour radio show. We've been having a great conversation with Heidi Crockett from Aging Care Advocates about sexuality for seniors, whether they're at home, in a facility, or even maybe visiting your home during the holiday season. But it's something important to be talking about, and we're so thrilled to have Dr. Ben here. Dr. Ben is a chiropractor in the Tampa Bay area, and I want to welcome you back to the Caregiver Hour.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. You are our common sense doctor, so I know that you're going to bring some common sense to us and how to help our seniors be active but also get a good night's sleep.
Well, you can't get a good night's sleep if you don't have a good exercise regimen during the day.
Okay.
That's going to be the point today. Remember that most senior citizens out there, what are they doing during the day? Most of them are sitting, watching movies, talking, taking naps.
Going to doctor's appointments.
Go to doctor's appointments. And then you ask them to go to bed at night and sleep very well. It's kind of tough because they're already sleeping most of the day by taking naps. They have a lot of energy, and if it's unspent, their wheels are going to be turning at night. And they're going to be wanting to do things, getting up, doing things. So really the answer to this is not what you can do before going to bed to get a good night's sleep. It's not about the bed. It's not about the medication they're taking. It should be really about burning up that energy level that they have. And the more energy they burn up through exercise, the more at night they're going to feel like, they need to sleep. They need to recuperate from what they're done during the day. Also, balance work. I mean, I'm going to make this a big point. Balance workout is essential for any person over the age of 50. Without balance, and listen to this, what controls your balance? Your eyes control your balance. Your hearing control your balance. And also your physical fitness control your balance too. So if you're at the age of 50 like me, well, first of all, your eyesight start to go slightly, gradually, right? Yes. And then as you get a bit older, your hearing goes as well. and then you have a very not as a good eyesight and hearing, then guess what's going to go next? Your balance.
Wow.
And this is the fact of life that what you'll encounter with most people over the age of 60, 65, 70 years old, their balance is poor. They start doing activities which they can control their balance, they fall, and they fracture a hip or any other bones in their body.
Okay.
It all boils down to, what can we do for this? What can you repair the eyesight? Well, not really. I mean, you can do the eyeglasses. Can you help them with hearing? Yes, you can, but let's say they forgot their hearing aid that day. Really, the main thing you could do is, I brought a Bosu ball today.
I'm thrilled.
And the Bosu ball is a very simple thing. It's a half ball cut off with a hard surface on top, and it's a balloon. And this is one of the key ingredients to do balance work. It can be done at home. You can go on the website. You can go on Google Bosu ball, B-O-S-U. You can purchase one for your center, wherever you work at, or a house. And it's a very simple thing to do. You get on the Bosu ball. You make sure you have supervision first, right? You make sure you may want to put it on a corner of a room somewhere, like we've done here at the studio. And you just get on it. That's all you got to do. The first step is to get on the ball and try to stabilize yourself to make sure that you can stand on the ball and you are working your balance, believe it or not. As you get a bit better at it, you ask that person to close their eyes. And for a couple seconds, let's say. And immediately you'll see that the balance is going to go. And that's what the person next to them should be very
prepared
that person's going to lose balance. We want them to lose balance on the ball, because what we're interested in too is not the fact that they actually lost balance, but actually what they can do to recuperate the balance. And that is the key of the training of the balance work, is to be able to catch up on not falling by themselves, using their legs, using their ankles. There's no arms here involved at all. So we want you to use your ankles, your feet, your knees, your hips, your trunk, to be able to not fall, really. And that's the workout.
Wow, that's very interesting. For caregivers who, a lot of them are very active during the day, but say they're in a situation now that they've stopped working and they're just taking care of their loved one at home, they do need to stay active, and I would think that balance would be very important for them to stay very strong and sturdy. So did you want to do a demonstration?
I was going to have you jump on the ball, but since you're not feeling too well.
I really am not feeling well.
I will jump on the ball to make a small demonstration.
All right, that'll be great.
As you can see, can you hear
No.
me?
Okay. So why don't I try it? Why don't we have you come back and I'll try it.
All right. I'm going to help you.
Okay.
You're going to grab the...
All right, I'm grabbing here.
Yes, she's gradually getting on the ball. She's putting her hands on the wall behind her, and I'm holding the other hand also. Now she positioned her feet very well. Now I'm going to let go of her hand. Now she's standing by herself on the ball, and obviously the whole body is shaking right now, because this is probably one of the first time you've done this.
Right.
And now she's working the ball. Now I would like you to look up, look at your eye level, and just stand up and look up and just be like this for a few seconds. That would be the first step, be able to stand on that Bosu ball without falling. And now the other part, the interesting part, I'm going to keep my hand real close to you. I want you to close your eyes for 1 second, just 1 second. And there you go. A little bit of loss of balance already. And recap your balance.
I'm feeling more shaky though.
Yes, because also you're not only working your balance, but you're working out every single muscles in your legs and your trunk as well. And go ahead and close your eyes for a second. And then there you go. Finally open your eyes. As you open your eyes, this is where you got to catch your balance pretty quick.
Okay.
So you close your eyes 1 second, and then you open it real quick and catch your balance.
Okay.
And now her legs are shaking. This is a workout, my friends. This is a total workout of the body.
Good though.
And if you do this about 20 minutes a day, it doesn't take much. 20 minutes a day on the Bosu ball, you'll be able to physically work out your legs, and you'll see your legs will be tiring.
Okay.
So how did you feel?
I mean, I do work out, so I have a sense of working not on that ball, but a balance. And I've had to work on my balance, actually, and my core. Because when I started out, I wasn't very balanced. And I just feel like that prepared me then to go on to the Basu ball. And it felt I was a little nervous because I don't feel well and I hadn't done that. But I felt that it's good to try new things. And you were trying to really make a point about balance. My legs were shaky. I felt like I had to use my core, though, and that was good, and had to use my arms to kind of help me feel safe and balanced. But I could see why you would say it works your legs.
It does.
And created a focus, which was really good, and a challenge. So I really loved it, actually.
It's a very interesting, very easy to do, but it has to be supervised.
Yes.
And even the caregivers, I recommend every caregiver to get on your Basu ball. Get a Basu ball for yourself. Work on your balance. Because guess what? If a patient or a friend or somebody you take care of comes in and needs support and you have a poor balance already, will not be a good situation to be in.
Let's go back to the ball because I want to make sure that everyone is making the connection. I just went on that ball, worked on my balance. That's going to help me now prevent falls.
Well, obviously, the better balance that you will have.
Okay.
It's a fall preventing method, really. What is the number one thing that happens when you start falling as you're older? You lose balance.
Yes.
This is the number one reason people fall. They lose their balance. Not because they got pushed or they got into a wheelchair accident or any of that sort. It's just because they lost their balance. And what did they do? They used their arms to grab onto something to prevent, and then they damage even more. So they still fall, but on top of falling, they fracture a hip and also they damage a shoulder or a wrist. And I've seen this very commonly in elderly patients. So what you want to do is you want to start the balance work so that they can actually prevent themselves from falling, and which is the key.
Okay, so this was working my legs, working my core, and working my whole body.
Working your balance.
Okay.
Your legs, your core, and your balance at the same time. This is why I love
Very
this
exciting.
workout. This is a simple workout, very inexpensive. It can be done at home. Anybody that would like to work on these, it can be done. Just call us. We'll help you with that.
Why don't we give them your number?
It's 727-488-8044. If you want to have a descriptions, I can refer you, give you some books you can actually purchase. I can tell you where you can purchase the Basu ball online. And obviously, I don't sell it, but I think everybody should have one.
And how long is the workout on this?
20 minutes. 20 minutes a day should be sufficient to really improve your balance. And I had some patients in my office that came in, and they were petrified to get on that ball.
Right.
But after 2 weeks of workout with them on the balance ball, they could stand on their own. They can close their eyes for up to 4 seconds. And when they open their eyes, they could catch themselves up. And these ladies were 66 and 67.
Oh, that's great.
I'm not talking about 25, 26-year-old patients. I'm talking about real patients with real problems, with real balance issues, that they really see the progression and improvement with only 20 minutes a day.
You know, the other thing I would think that comes up is pain. People don't get a good night's sleep because they're in pain. How do you help them with that, Dr. Ben?
Well, the pain, there's different things that can be done. Obviously, there's medication that can help with pain, but obviously I'm a chiropractor, so I do understand the importance of medication. I'm tending more toward a natural way to do it. We have a device called a TENS unit that can be used at home, prescribed by a physician, and it's kind of provide muscle stimulations to neutralize the pain sensors in your body, and that will help with the pain too as well.
Okay, that's great. Dr. Ben, why don't we have you come on after the break, and maybe there'll be a tip that you'll have another tip because you are a common sense doctor, and we could use all the help we can get to get a good night's sleep. I'm Kim Linder. You're listening to the Caregiver Hour on 1250 WINS WHNZ.
Caregiving has gotten harder and more complicated, even as families have more and more demands on their time. That's why AARP is here to help caregivers with the tools, information, and support they need to care for their loved ones and themselves. Check out aarp.org/caregiving to connect with other caregivers like yourself and find the resources you need. Visit the AARP Caregiver Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Caregiving.
Injured in a car accident or suffering from back and joint pain for a while? Clearly, you need to see a doctor. Call Dr. Ben, a chiropractor with 25 years experience. He listens, he cares, he gets results. His common sense approach? Coaching patients to be self-sufficient and less doctor dependent. Let's face it, there are many things you can do to improve your health. Call Dr. Ben at 727-488-8044. Mention the Caregiver Hour radio show for a free examination. 727-488-8044. Dr. Ben, your coach to better health. 727-488-8044.
Sometimes I know what I want to say, but just can't find the words.
Last week I shouted at my grandson, and I'm not sure why.
I saw my daughter, but couldn't remember her name.
The sooner you recognize the warning signs of Alzheimer's disease, the sooner you can do something about it. To learn more, go to alz.org/10signs. That's alz.org/10signs. A message from the Alzheimer's Association.
Caregiving can be an overwhelming and stressful experience. Aston Gardens, Tampa Bay's premier senior living community, is excited to be able to support those who care for others. Please join them the third Thursdays of the month at 5:30 p.m. to learn creative problem-solving techniques and caregiving ideas from others who have been in your shoes. Aston Gardens specializes in independent living, assisted living, and memory care. Chosen for the third year in a row by the U.S. Commerce Association for the Best of Tampa Bay Award in residential care. Call 813-855-2811 or visit astongardens.com for more info.
Your home is where you feel relaxed, safe, and secure. Arcadia Home Care understands that you want to maintain that freedom and independence, even though you may be recuperating from an injury, illness, or simply require a little support with daily activities of living. You create a plan for your life as you envision it, and you can rest assured Arcadia will provide companionship, personal care, housekeeping, shopping, and errands, or whatever you need. They deliver their services with compassion, dependability, and professionalism. Their caregivers are screened, bonded, and insured, and must meet rigorous hiring standards, so you are confident you're receiving the best care possible for you or your loved one. Visit ArcadiaHomeCare.com or call St. Petersburg at 727-579-9414 or Tampa at 813-651-1300 to schedule your free in-home assessment and learn how Arcadia can enhance your quality of life while helping you stay at home and healthier longer. Arcadia Home Care, providing quality services since 1978.
It's the Caregiver Hour on 1250 Wins WHNZ with encouragement, guidance, and support for caregivers. Here's your host, Kim Linder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Caregiver Hour radio show. I hope you've been enjoying this special show today about really getting a good night's sleep, but also from two great perspectives. I love having Dr. Ben here. He's our common sense doctor and chiropractor and really trying to teach us the importance of balance. But Dr. Ben, you have something else you wanted to demonstrate today, too. Can you tell us another tip that you want to help our caregivers with?
Exercise can be done anywhere. Doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair, if you're standing, or if you're in your bed. Exercise is important to do anyway. Everybody knows this, but nobody knows how to apply it.
Okay.
Well, how about some rubber tubing? And then again, that can be purchased anywhere. On the website, work on Google, ask Dr. Google, it'll tell you rubber tubing. It's about 3 feet long. It's attached with some handle that you can hold in your hands on both sides.
Let's see if we could show everyone what that looks like. Okay? All right, so thank you, John.
It's a very simple technology, very affordable. I bought a set of 3 rubber tubing for $30 online.
Okay, so you bought the rubber tubing and then you created this?
It came with the handles.
Oh, okay, and it comes with the handles. Okay, that's great.
It is. And just give you an example, people on a wheelchair mainly have a hard time, or people are afraid of staying to exercise, or they can't go to the gym, obviously.
Right.
So you can be sitting on your chair like I'm sitting on my chair right now. I'm going to take these handles, put the rubber tubing underneath my chair, totally underneath my chair. And then I'm here, and I can do my shoulder exercise. As long as I want to. And, exercise doesn't matter which joint you exercise, as long as you make them move. And the key is to increase your blood pressure slightly to where the blood circulates better, and it gets more heating, and then more activities. And that's what you want to do. If you got somebody that's restless in the chair, get him to exercise. Get him to start pumping some iron. Tell him you're going to buff up and whatnot. Not like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you can still develop muscle mass as an elderly patient. And there are specific ways to exercise for this. One of the key factors of exercise, it's been done 20, 30 years ago, is the key to exercise to release cortisol and testosterone. And there's only one way you can do this by exercising is to reach a moment of total stress or total muscle fatigue. If you reach your total muscle fatigue levels, at that time you release cortisol and testosterone as well. And then you start producing muscle mass, more energy, and more strength. And that's what you want in the elderly as well, because you're still going to release it no matter what. You only not release testosterone once you're passed. If you're still breathing, you can still release some of that effect. So I say, I don't care if you are 15 years old or if you are 95 years old, exercise is important. And if you do it well, it will be really a main difference in your life. 30 minutes twice a week. That's all you need. You don't need more than that.
Okay, so if someone wants to make an appointment to consult with you, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Just call the office, really. Call the office at 488-8044. To talk to Sarah. Sarah's our receptionist, and she'll be glad to set up and let them know you're come from the Caregiver show.
That would be wonderful.
Because the consultation is at no charge at that time.
That's wonderful. So again, that number is 727-488-8044. We want to give the area code in case someone is listening from out of state. They want to know what our area code is here, but also if someone is visiting from out of state, they want to know who to call and how to get in touch with you. So thank you so much, Dr. Ben. We're thrilled that you're here every month to help all of our caregivers really create balance in their lives and to really have a very healthy lifestyle. And, Heidi, did you want to add something about the sexuality with our good night's sleep for our caregivers?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking he was talking about releasing cortisol
and
testosterone. I was thinking you can do that with exercise. You can also do that with intimacy and sexual activity.
Well, that's good. So I love that. I love how we're creating the whole picture here.
Both of those activities will help you sleep better at night, right? I did want to mention this book. I think it's a great book. It's called Naked at Our Age, Talking Out Loud About Senior Sex by Joan Price. And another book I wanted to mention was The Ultimate Guide to Sex and Disability for All of Us Who Live with Disabilities, Chronic Pain, and Illness. Because one of the things I advocate for is asking about people's sexual health. If someone's had a heart attack, things like that, a colostomy bag, they can continue to be sexual. If you had a heart attack, this book says if you can walk up 2 flights of stairs, then you can engage in sexual activities. So as a healthcare professional, if you ask someone if they have sexual questions, you can use this book as a reference.
That's excellent. Yeah. We should add those to our resources on our website. So thank you for bringing that to light, Heidi.
And I was thinking, if people also want to hear what I'm talking about in the future, on agingcareadvocates.com under our events, I give lectures. So in February, I'm giving one at the Gulfport Senior Center on February 5th titled Healthy Aging, Mindful Consumption of Food and Pleasure. And then I'm doing one on February 6th, the next day at Pacifica, on sexual concerns associated with dementia. So instead of me just going through the events, I think it'd be better if people could just look it up on my website.
Yes, absolutely. And we could add it to our calendar as well. That way they can see it in more than one place. Dr. Ben, I want to come back to you because I think that you're really giving us that other perspective of the importance of well-being. Can you tell us again with your practice how to help our caregivers really have a more balanced life and bringing that activity into it?
Well, activities, like I said, 30 minutes twice a week.
I was
That's
impressed.
all you need, really. If you work out at a total muscle fatigue training level, it takes you 30 minutes. You work 2 upper body muscle groups, 2 lower body muscle groups, and you're done. Nutrition, this is something we're going to bring in probably on next month. We'll talk a lot about nutrition, because nutrition, 90% of all the disease can be prevented by nutrition alone. And there is a lot of debates as far as what is good nutrition, what is bad nutrition. Carbs, are they good? Are they bad? Fat, is it good?
Right.
How about salt? Is it good or is it bad? It's
gluten,
changing.
should I be on gluten? Should I not have gluten? Also, should I be a vegan, not a vegan? I mean, there's just so much going on.
I'm going to bring you my reality.
All right.
And not everybody may not like it, but I tell you what, it works.
Okay.
I was 2 years ago, I was 30 pound overweight. I'm not a big guy to start with, but I was 30 pound overweight, and I started changing my nutrition. So I lost 30 pounds, and I lost 3 pants size. I feel very athletic right now,
Good.
and I'm 51 years old. And I can still bench over 200 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm not a big guy. It's not about what the size of your body can do. It's about, is your muscle that you have, are they strong? And is it what you eat? I mean, you got to be careful what you eat today. If you don't feel great, I mean, I'll tell you one tidbit. If you feel bloated after eating a meal, you got some problems.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that all next month.
That's a great, thank you so much. Well, I've loved this show, and if you would like to learn more, you certainly are welcome to be in touch with our guests. So, Dr. Ben, why don't we tell them how to be in touch with you again?
You can call the office at 727-488-8044.
And Dr. Ben has his link on our website on the Caregiver Hour page. So you're welcome to go to thecaregiverhour.com, and his link is right there. And Heidi, how do we get in touch with you if there is a family member who's looking for a geriatric care management company?
So you can go to our website. It's agingcareadvocates.com, and the phone number is 727-286-3220. I was also going to give my personal cell. It's 727-417-3016. So if someone wants to call me and ask questions related to this topic that we were talking about today, and please know that if someone shares stuff, I always keep it confidential. Okay.
Also, they may want to book you for a speaking engagement because we have different facilities that do listen to us. So if you are someone who is a caregiver and you are looking for a break, we actually have 3 hours of free respite available to you through Easy Living in your home, in a hospital, in a rehab center. And during this holiday time, why not give yourself those 3 free hours of respite where you can do everything you need to do and have your loved one being taken care of? This is such a nice way to give a gift to yourself, and we talk about that, about caring for the caregiver, and this would be a great way for you to say, you know what, Mom, I want to have someone take care of you so that I can run the errands, I can go shopping for the holidays, and make this holiday a beautiful one for the whole family. So again, if you're interested, all you need to do is get in touch with me at kim@thecaregiverhour.com. We have events in our community, we have events every day, and we have a calendar where you could go to look them up. It's at thecaregiverhour.com, and just look under the tab for events and you'll have the information there. And just if they ask you to RSVP, I encourage you to do that, but otherwise just call a friend and bring someone and go to these different holiday events that we're having this time of year. If you missed any part of the show, you certainly can go back and listen to us at thecaregiverhour.com. We have it under an archive for the audio, and then we have a web TV archive for the live show. I want to thank Chris and Dale from Go Agency for our social media. They do a fantastic job with our Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, so we can be connected in so many different ways. At this time of year, we always want to be grateful for what we do have rather than what we don't have. So if you can take a moment today and be grateful for something that's important in your life, please acknowledge it, because it'll just create more of that for you. I'm so thrilled to be here every week for you. This is my passion, and I hope that it feels good to you. I'm Kim Linder, your host of the Caregiver Hour, on every Monday from 11 a.m. till noon on 1250 WINS WHNZ.